and Jonathan Sacerdoti said the rumored choice of ghostwriter for Harry's eagerly anticipated Penguin Random House published memoir later this year underlines their willingness to pull out the big guns in the PR battle with Buckingham Palace. Referring to the former Suits star, Mr. Sacerdoti, a regular commentator on Sky News as well as a contributor to The Spectator, said, "She grew up with high ambitions and started to reach them as an actress, putting in the work. Obviously not a terribly successful actress in terms of being well known internationally, until she then married Prince Harry, and then she has become probably one of the most known or recognizable names in the world just by marrying somebody. I think that shows an enormous amount of planning and ambition, and now they're doing having left the family shows again. I don't mean to be totally unromantic, maybe she did fall in love with Harry. Maybe their relationship is also one of partnership and love in that respect. But you don't marry into the royal family, I think, without knowing what it's going to do to your reputation and your exposure internationally. And then I think they've used that to their advantage. Many would say is their right." Mr. Sacerdoti said, "She could well have political ambitions. I've read that elsewhere and it wouldn't surprise me. But Shush is building a brand empire with all the decisions, and I see her as the driving force as opposed to him. I must say that many people do see her as the driving force behind this. Obviously they're working closely together in it, and they're even very careful about who does what. In terms of the public attention, Shush has written a children's book and HES being sent out much more frequently now to talk about things like mental health." Recent YouGov polling has suggested both Harry and Meghan's popularity is sinking on this side of the Atlantic, with the prince having an approval rating of just 31%, and his wife just 1 point more. Mr. Sacerdoti told Express.co.uk, "Perhaps the book will be an attempt to regain some of that support, though it doesn't seem clear whether or not Harry and Meghan are interested in public support in the UK at all anymore. They may be aiming at a completely different market internationally, or in America, and maybe at younger people rather than older people. So maybe in leaving behind the royal family, they've chosen to market themselves towards a totally different demographic, and therefore, they maybe don't mind that slide in popularity here." There was undoubtedly a massive audience for whatever Harry has to say later this year, Mr. Sacerdoti pointed out. He added, "There are so many issues that he could talk about in that book, and not just the recent things you know. His own troubled childhoods, the revelations that there was a time when he was a teenager when he was smoking cannabis or drinking heavily. His dressing up as a Nazi in a Nazi uniform at the age of 20 and his development now to saying HES and anti-racist. His marriage to Meghan, his previous relationships, one of which went on for I think about 6 years. His time in the army, let's not forget he may not be popular now, but he was at one time very popular, not least because he took this active role in the British military. He flew Apache helicopters. He's certainly lived an interesting and varied life. And that's not even mentioning his parents' very public divorce when he was still a child, Diana's death when he was 12 years old, the enormous attention on him, just during the funeral when he was made to walk behind the coffin. The rumored choice of ghostwriter, Junior Meringer, underlined the seriousness with which Harry and Meghan were taking the memoir, Mr. Sacerdoti said. He explained, "Meringer is very experienced at telling stories of very famous people in a way that's engaging and well written. So, if one might have been worried, or if Penguin Random House might have been worried about Harry's own lack of eloquence or literary ability, they've certainly put him in safe hands in linking up a ghostwriter of that caliber. I think it is a huge challenge for them, but I think that they've pulled out the big guns. Oprah Winfrey, Penguin Random House, Junior Meringer. These are not small measures in terms of trying to set the tone on how they're seen.